Hello everyone, Bhavna Gunwani this side. Today in this session we will discuss about typecasting. This is one of the important feature of Java or any programming language. Basically this is a way or a method that to convert the data from one data type into the another data type. When you are working on a piece of code, there is a process of this kind where the conversion takes place, and that conversion is known as casting. We can cast both reference and primitive types, but as of now we will talk about primitive types in this session. Data cannot be changed, but only the data type is changed. But there are types of typecasting. In implicit typecasting, the chances of data loss are very less because it's implicitly typecasted when the storage type is compatible. Otherwise, in the case of explicit, compiler does not take the risk for the data loss. That's what it asks us to do that. As I discussed, there are two types of typecasting, implicit and explicit. Implicit casting is also known as widening because step by step the type of the data gets extended. In the case of explicit, it's narrowing because step by step the type of the data gets shortened. We can see here the data is going from byte to short to integer to long to float and double. In the case of narrowing, the arrows depicts in a different opposite direction, double to float to long. So when you are assigning the double data to the floats type of data, the chances of data loss are high. So compiler asks us to do that. That is explicit kind of casting that is being implemented or done by the developers. Let's try to understand practically how this thing takes place. First of all, I would like to tell you before casting, there is a type conversion example. Basically, most of the time there is a very common type conversion that takes place, that is from string to integer. Why? Because most of the programming languages takes the data from the command line in the form of objects, that is string, and that needs to be assigned into the respective type. That is what string to integer or string to other types, the conversion is probably required. So that's what the conversion is very common. That is a type conversion, not casting. Let's say I have a string. I wanted to take the age of a person, that is 40, but it will be taken from the user as an input in the object form, that is a string form. But I wanted to store it into the integer so that I can calculate something on that. So here is the wrapper class integer. It has the parse method parse integer that will convert the string value to the integer. There is no radix required. I just simply write what value I wanted to convert. So you can see that I will just write S and I will just try to print I also. I'll just simply run. So here, if I get two values, the first is coming from the object and the second one is coming from the primitive type that can be calculated depending upon the value, that is 40. So thus guys, if you want to check whether it's an object type or primitive type, there is also one more way to check. You write sys out. As it is object type, you can get the class name this way. So this will print that S is of object of string type java.lang.string. But if you will try to do the same with I, that is .get class, you can see that once you will try writing it, it will tell you invoke get class on, cannot invoke get class on the primitive types. As I told you, we have already converted its type. So guys, this is how the basic conversion takes place. Now I'm going to tell you how implicit typecasting gets implemented practically. Here I'm going to create implicit typecasting example. The class is created. Adding a main method. Let's say I have an integer value. For some reason, I want to do certain calculations into it, and I want to assign this into the long value. So you can see that this is something called 10, and 10 is under the limit of long that can be assigned to the long value. But I'm telling you internally how does it work. It does not assign the integer value into the long value. First of all, it creates an anonymous variable, unnamed allocation in the memory of long type, assigns this value into that variable and then assigns to the long value. How it takes happen in the picture. But there is no chances of data loss because integer value can easily be assigned into the long value. That's what this is known as implicit typecasting from integer to long. Similarly, for some reason, I want to assign the long value into double type. So again, anonymous memory will be created of double type. This long value will be assigned into that variable and that value being assigned into this double value. No chances of data losses are there. Long value can easily be stored into the double type. That's what implicit typecasting from long to double happened. So it is widening. It's widening from integer to long and long to double. And then we can just print. There is no differences between the value because value range is same. Just a storage type is changed. So this is something what gets printed. Let me save it and run it for you. 10, 10 and 10.0. Next is the explicit type. So here I'm going to create a file, explicit typecasting. The class is there. There is a main method. Let's say I have a double value. $100.567. By some reason, after certain calculations, I need to assign this double value into this long type. So as you know that the range of double type and the size of the double type is more than the size and range of the long value. So there are the chances of data loss of decimal precisions and the main value. So that's what compiler says that I cannot take a risk of data loss. You need to do this conversion by your own. That first you want to convert your double value into the long type and then that value will be assigned into this long value. Similarly, when I'm going to assign it into the integer value, first of all, I would like to show you what does this double prints, double value and the long value gets printed. So here it is 100.567. Long is an integer which does not take the decimal precisions, that is 567. So that is what the chances of data loss were there, 0.567 data loss would be there. That's what developer has to take this action. Similarly, I told you what is the range of integer. So 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let me just separate them this way. So this is the double value, can also be held into the long this way. But what will happen when integer value will be assigned? Integer value equals to long value So you can see that the typecasting could happen if I would not be doing it manually, will give me the error that the long has a decimal, long has a larger space that is 3 underscore something something, but which cannot be stored into the integer type. So I need to take this data loss chances, something this way. You can see that there is a data loss chances, some values after the calculation is being coming, whatever data gets lost. If I will remove it, I think this can be stored into the integer, so there will be no data loss chances because up to this billion of data can be stored into the integer. So this is explicit typecasting from double to long, and this is explicit typecasting from long to integer. I hope it is quite clear to you. We generally don't do this intentionally, but whenever we do certain calculations, this kind of casting would be required. So that's how it takes place. Until next time, stay tuned. Thank you.